am making a birthday present for my mom, and this is going to be a mixed media canvas. Now, I was a bit nervous about this because I made a few canvases before, and only a few of them turned out quite nice, but a lot of them didn't. So I watched a lot of videos, and I found a channel by Creation CC, and she makes the most beautiful canvases with flowers mostly. So I immediately thought that's the direction I want to go with this. So this one is very much inspired by her work. So I will leave you a link in the description box so you can visit her channel and see for yourself. But as everyone does it in a different way, I was nervous about the steps I had to take. What do I do first? Do I first add my embellishments and then add gesso? Or do I first make sure my background is okay, has some color, and then add embellishments? So it took me a while, but the end result was quite nice, and my mother celebrated her birthday last Saturday, and when she got it, she was very moved and she liked it very much. So it did turn out great. So the first step I did with this canvas, which is approximately about 8 inches by 10.5 inches. What I did first was add some texture, and I did that with a modeling paste and a script stencil, and also a stencil that had fantasy circles on them. And then I added some embellishments, which are wooden letters and numbers that are all related to my mom, because she turned 77, and so she was born in 1939, and her name is Ria. And I'm gluing all these bits down with a gel medium, and I use my little spatula, which are in fact silicone brushes you use to dye your hair. So these are some little butterflies. And then I am making the flowers, and I got this ribbon. Well, it's a wire actually, which has little beads on them. So I took some of those and made some flowers. And for the stems I used a thread, quite a thick thread. And here I am positioning everything to see where it should go. Gluing down the stems with a tacky glue. This video is a bit chaotic because I'm taking a lot of steps, and some of them I didn't like, so I gessoed over it. And some steps I take don't show in the end, so they weren't necessary to take, but it was an experiment, and well, the end result was okay. So now I'm adding a layer of gesso before I add the flowers. I'm not sure why I did that, but I think it was to give it a first coat and trying to make the background interesting, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm taking some acrylic paint. I believe it's the Distress stain, and I'm spraying some water to make it drip and run and move on the page and make sure it gets in all the texture bits, the numbers and the letters and the stenciling. And this is a spray of a homemade acrylic paint. And then I go in with some distress sprays and also some sprays by Dilutions and Tattered Angels, I believe. I did try to avoid that because, well, these sprays are quite scary because they are water soluble, so they keep moving, and even after you dry it for 3 days, if you go over it with a wet layer of gesso or whatever, it starts to blend in and move again. So I try to avoid that, but I'm a bit limited in my colors of paint and acrylic spray, so I decided to use it. Acrylic paint, acrylic spray, when it's dry, it won't move again. So if you made a mistake, then you can go over it with gesso and start all over again. But with these sprays, if you put on a layer of gesso on top of them, then it will blend in again, so you won't have a white, fresh new start, but it's all smudged and blended with the sprays. So what I did now was gessoing the flowers on my table and then add it down, glue it down with a golden gel medium. And at this point I thought, I don't like the colors, I don't like where this is going. So I'm thinking that while I'm adding the center of the flowers, which is a piece of lace, which I rolled together and add in the center of the flowers. And meanwhile I'm thinking, I don't like it, I don't like it. So now I'm thinking I'm going to go in with the gesso again, but because of the sprays I used, the water-soluble sprays, I was a bit scared, and what I did was spraying it with hairspray just to get the paint that was on there sealed in somewhat way. I don't think the hairspray is good enough to seal it properly, but it did work quite okay. So I added a layer of gesso, and as you see, it quite worked. And I was happy at that point, so I could start over again. And then I decided to try and glaze the canvas. I watched people do that on the YouTube videos, and you need a glaze medium for that. But I also learned through the YouTube videos that you can do that with a Mod Podge. So I took this yucky brown color and added an amount of Mod Podge to it, and then painted my whole canvas and used the baby wipes to take it off again, basically. And what it does is it leaves a thin coat of the color on your canvas, especially on the parts that are textured. So I was quite happy with the result of this. It's a bit of a messy job, so I have put on a glove, and it costs you a fortune on baby wipes, but it worked. So all the painting and the spraying I did in the first place was a step that wasn't necessary because I got it covered with gesso again. Now I'm using my homemade acrylic sprays to add some color to the canvas, mostly on the flowers. And as I said, I took everything out, all my colors, all my sprays. I have needle bottles with homemade acrylic fluids in it. Just experimenting and trying and hoping to get to a very nice result. So the nice thing of speeding up your video is that it looks like you know what you're doing, but in fact I didn't. And now I am glazing again with a teal color. So that is an acrylic paint which I mixed with Mod Podge and painting all over the canvas, and then using baby wipes again to get most of it off. Using some more acrylic sprays to add more color and spray it with water. And here are the sprays again, the water-soluble sprays that I didn't want to use but did use. And here I'm thinking, well, this is going somewhere, and I liked it. I'm spraying some tea stain color on the texture of the stencils, so they will pop out a bit more. And this is Inca Gold turquoise, which I'm adding to the little beads of the flowers to make them a bit shiny and stand out more. And then again I take my gesso, and because I'm sorry, I thought the background was a bit too crunchy for my liking, and I wanted to make it a little softer so the flowers would pop out a bit more. And so I decided to use a dry brush and add another layer of the gesso. And that worked for me. I thought it was very nice because it made the background a lot softer, although it had color in it. And with my fingers I'm adding more gesso on the texture of the stencils to make them pop out a bit more. And then my next struggle is to make the letters and the numbers stand out. And I tried different things, and here I am adding some shadow with a black charcoal pen, and then the tip broke, and then I decided to use my water-soluble gel pen and a water brush to add some shadows around the letters. Here I am stamping with the StazOn Jet Black ink pad and a script stamp with text. I probably should have done this in an earlier stage, but well, it worked so. And here I am using some gelatos, a brown color and light blue to bring back some of the color I removed with the gesso, and mostly I'm going around the edges with the brown, and I used the light blue gelato for adding a bit more color in the center of the canvas around the flowers. And here I think, well, I'm quite happy with the result. So this is about it for my video and my birthday present for my mom. Make sure to check out the description box so you can visit CC Creations channel. She makes really beautiful projects. Thank you. Bye bye.